Hello, good afternoon, or rather good evening. Everyone, thank you for waiting. Welcome to the press conference after the video conference by foreign ministers of EU member states, chaired by High Representative Josep Borrell, who will inform you about the discussions and the outcomes of the discussions. High Representative, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Thank you to all of you. Sorry for being late. It has been quite a long and intense, I wouldn't say Foreign Affairs Council, because it was not, strictly speaking, council, but an informal meeting of the Foreign Affairs Ministers to talk about and to discuss about the worst upsurge in violence in Israel and the occupied Palestinian territories for many years, since 2014. I considered it was necessary to call for this meeting because the situation was really very bad and member states were taking positions, and I thought it was necessary to coordinate the European Union response. As you know, in an informal meeting, there is no formal conclusions. And what I am going to explain you is my takeaway, my intellectual takeaway from the today meeting. The text reflects the overall sense of the discussion. I acknowledge that there are nuances that some individuals have expressed, but it's a short text that cannot take into account all the discussion. But I think it reflects the overall agreement and the overall sense of our discussion. And I am happy to say that 26 out of 27 member states supported this overall sense of the discussion. As I explained to them, it's my responsibility to present you, not conclusions, but overall understanding, and it's up to you to see if you recognize yourself on that. So I am quite satisfied because I have an important support. This is my takeaway, but it has an important support. And the text says that it starts recognizing that the priority is the immediate cessation of all violence and the implementation of a ceasefire, not only agreed, but to implement a ceasefire. The purpose is to protect civilians and to give full humanitarian access in Gaza. The second is to consider that the upsurge of violence in the last days has led to a high number of civilian casualties, death and injured, among them a high number of children and women, and that this is unacceptable. Once again, we condemn the rocket attacks by Hamas, another terrorist group, on the Israel territory. And we fully support Israel's right to defense, but we have also considered and stated that this has to be done in a proportionate manner and respecting international humanitarian law. Once again, but this is nothing new, we recall for the need to respect fully the status of the holy sites and to uphold the right to worship. It was also strong support about the importance to not to proceed with evictions in Sheikh Jarrah in line with the European Union positions in settlements. As I said, we support the right of defense to Israel and the right to security, also for the Palestinians, and we consider that security for Israel and Palestine requires a true political solution. because only a true political solution could bring peace. And for doing that, we need to restore a political horizon. Now the priority, the urgency, is to stop violence and to implement a ceasefire. But the day after tomorrow, or whenever the violence stops, we have to engage to reopen a political horizon, exploring a space for re-engagement between the parties, developing confidence-building measures, improving living conditions of the people, and opening the path towards the potential relaunching of the peace process. The potential relaunching of the peace process, which has been in a stalemate for too long. We also consider that the holding of Palestinian elections must be considered a priority, and we ask everybody not to obstruct and to facilitate this electoral process. And from our side, we will renew our engagement with our key partners, notably with the new US administration, with whom we have been in touch those days. Yesterday I had my last phone call with Secretary of State Blinken, and many colleagues have been talking with him, and also with the Revived Quartet. We have a new special representative that will be sent to the region and to engage with the Quartet and other partners to convey them these messages from our side. Do I go to any other business right now, or do we let any other business? I can add any other business. Now, neither I'm going to mix with another crisis situation. On any other business, we got an explanation from the Spanish minister about, and I'm going to say that in Spanish because I'm sure many people will be interested to follow that in Spanish. Como les decía, la ministra española ha explicado hoy a los ministros la situación en la frontera entre España y Marruecos, en Ceuta, donde se han producido preocupantes acontecimientos, un número de migrantes muy alto, sin precedentes en un solo día. Estamos hablando de 6.000 personas. Han llegado a Europa, porque han llegado a España, es decir, a Europa, nadando. Muchos de ellos son niños, muchos han tenido que ser rescatados y, desgraciadamente, hemos de lamentar al menos una víctima. Esta mañana he hablado con el presidente del Gobierno español para expresarle la plena solidaridad europea, el apoyo de la Unión Europea a España. Antes que yo, la comisaria Johansson se ha expresado desde el punto de vista de la política migratoria, como ha hecho también el vicepresidente Esquinas, y mi colega, el comisario Oliver, ha estado en contacto con el ministro marroquí. Por mi parte, quiero resaltar que Ceuta es la frontera europea con Marruecos y que la Unión Europea hará lo necesario para apoyar a España en estos momentos difíciles, que sin duda la mayor prioridad es tratar de evitar que haya muertes de personas que tratan de cruzar a nado, haya muertes de inmigrantes, y devolver la normalidad a Ceuta, gravemente perturbada por estos acontecimientos. Como saben, y yo lo puedo testificar como ministro de Exteriores que fui de España, la Unión Europea tiene una muy sólida y estratégica asociación con Marruecos. Una relación de asociación, de amistad, de cooperación, que se ha consolidado a lo largo de muchos años de buena cooperación. A veces, con momentos como estos, en los que hay que seguir llamando a la cooperación. Y la ministra nos ha informado de que ya una parte muy importante de estas entradas en territorio español y, por lo tanto, europeo, una parte de ellas, de acuerdo y en función de los acuerdos que se tienen con Marruecos, se ha procedido ya a su devolución a Marruecos. Cuando digo que tenemos una buena relación y que hemos de seguir manteniéndola, incluyo en ella las cuestiones migratorias. La gestión de la inmigración forma parte muy importante de nuestra relación y debe ser gestionada en un espíritu de cooperación y diálogo. He llamado a mi colega, el ministro Burita, no he podido todavía hablar con él, lo ha hecho el comisario Oliver, y estoy seguro que en este espíritu de diálogo y cooperación encontraremos soluciones que respeten los intereses comunes, basados en compromisos, en objetivos y en la mutua confianza.